Our last video today isn't going to focus on a specific artwork, but it is drawing a conclusion of the first French Revolution. First? That implies that there's another one. There will be. We will follow it. It's crazy. But this video is merely to close out the revolution and prepare us for next week and where we'll be picking up in terms of the power and the art that is going to be reflective of that government, that power. So, what happened to Marie? Well, her husband was murdered in January, and in October of that same year, Marie Antoinette was convicted of treason. Now, she had spent 3 years as a prisoner of the French revolutionaries, and in that 3 year period, she had lost all of her teeth, her hair was thinning, she was thin, she was pale, her children had been taken away from her. She had two surviving kids. Her daughter, Marie Thérèse, was sent to Austria to live with her grandma, and her young son, heir to the throne, little Louis, he was put into the care of a couple that turned out to be extremely physically and emotionally abusive to him. And Marie Antoinette was put into this humiliating cell in which guards were watching her 24/7, and they would watch her while she, peed and pooped and had her period. She had to strip in front of the guards. All of this was meant to break her, but she never broke. Even her enemies agree that she never broke in prison. She always maintained this queenly stature and composure and dignity. In fact, during the beginning of the revolution, many people were remarkably impressed with Marie Antoinette and her political response and her ability to negotiate and think logically in comparison to her stupid husband. But I digress. So, if we don't need a king and we don't need a queen, we need to kill them. On October 15th, 1793, she was convicted of treason against the revolution or against the republic. Many of her charges included these false claims of sexual debauchery. They even said that she had performed incest with her son. Really, they were just trying to smear her with the people. They also proclaimed that she had sent millions of the treasury money to Austria, which was false. So the next day, she was executed. Now I show you here one of her last official portraits before the outbreak of the revolution, and her very last portrait, which was painted or was drawn by Jacques-Louis David. This is a portrait of her as she was carted to the guillotine. Now Jacques-Louis David was present. You can see here in his writing, portrait of Marie Antoinette Reine, portrait of Marie Antoinette Queen. And what we have is a woman who is dramatically aged. Her hair has been cut short. This is a typical haircut before you go to the guillotine. They refer to it as the revolutionary haircut because to get a clean slice, they wanted your hair out of the way. So your hair would be cut to expose your neck. So she has her hair in that short crop. You can see how she's lost her teeth, but she still maintains this composure and this erect posture. Her last words before her death were, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it." And those were directed to her executioner because she accidentally stepped on his foot. Now, students will often ask me in class, did she really say let them eat cake? If you're not familiar with the lore of Marie Antoinette, one of the things is during before the revolution, when the people of France were starving, the king and queen were told or informed of these issues, and they said they don't even have enough bread to eat. And the queen very flippantly said, if they don't have bread, well, then let them eat cake. This was false. She never said this. We have documentation of this being a quote in a book written before she was even part of the French monarchy, when she was still living in Austria as a little kid. And the statement, let them eat cake, during the revolution was attached to several French French nobility, as a way to kind of say they all don't know it, they all don't get the ideas and the struggles. It's just that so happened that let them eat cake really stuck with her. What happened to her son? Well, her son, Louis I guess he's officially Louis the 17th after his dad died. I told you that he was put in charge of two horrible people. He died soon after Marie Antoinette, and the autopsy, the medical examiner's autopsy of his body, showed that he was malnourished, and he had significant bruising all over his body, which shows that he was physically beaten by this couple. So he had a horrible, short life. Nobody was safe. I've said this before. Nobody was safe under the reign of terror, including Robespierre. On July 27th, 1794, Robespierre was executed. Ugh, finally, right? People started to realize, whoa, 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 this is getting out of hand. This is crazy. Mobs are breaking out all over France. Robespierre was arrested and guillotined without trial, along with other members of his Committee of Public Safety. With the death of Robespierre ends the reign of terror. But this does not end the death and the rampant rage. Right after this starts what historians refer to as the White Terror, which was a return of the nobility who murdered the peasants. And some historians estimate that more died during the White Terror than the Reign of Terror. It's insane. I will tell you, because I love talking about French Revolution and stuff, I will tell you that one of the proclaimed last words of Robespierre was, Merci, monsieur. Thank you, Mr. Master. Why is that significant? It's significant because during the revolution, elements of language were also trying to be removed, like the words monsieur and madame. Those are symbols of master, and those are ancien régime. Instead, the revolutionaries were calling themselves citoyens, citizens. And so when Robespierre was arrested, he he figured out he was going to get arrested. So he and his brother and a few of his friends, they all held up in a house on the second floor. And then the mob comes in to get them, and he jumps out of the second floor window, and he comes and he like breaks his leg. And when they pick him up, he had a gunshot wound in the face. What they think he had done is he had tried to shoot himself in the head, and it went awry, and he just like blew off his cheek. And so as he was laying there on the floor, somebody comes to pick him up, and he kind of mumbles, Merci, monsieur. The irony is that he's one who would have proclaimed citoyen, citizen, and he uses monsieur. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm geeking out. I know it's embarrassing for myself. What the French establish is officially referred to as the French consulate. French consulate is a constitutional republic. It's set up with three branches: a legislative branch, a judicial branch, and an executive branch. Wow, doesn't that sound like the American Republic? It is. It is very much inspired by the three branches of government in the United States government: legislative, judicial, executive. However, with the French, their executive branch is divided into five, not presidents, but five directors. And each of the directors is supposed to have a specialty that can aid in the leadership. One of these 5 consuls is this guy. Napoleon Bonaparte? Yes. So Napoleon Bonaparte had proven himself to be an extreme military genius during the Revolution. And he had won not only the loyalty of the soldiers, but a massive amount of the public as well. So he was elected into the French consul. What we are going to pick up with next week is him and his imagery by David. I know. See you next week.